Right. The goal is to go through a companions, decide on the more or less, I suppose, final group, where the likely final group. Quick look at the abilities the current companions have. Dimensional power, while phase gain plus 2 damage. Her ability seems to be phasing, so she can do trans-dimensional damage and has some bonuses to spell attacks. Also, decent amount of cipher abilities. He has one, yeah, Tiber has one, British has two, so okay. Doesn't really bring anything all that interesting to the group. Hyber. A useful set of abilities, I'd say, even though we haven't gotten all that much of a use out of some of them. Also provides bonuses to conversations, also has conversation skills, but I'm not seeing anything particularly amazing either from either of these two. Heredis, on the other hand, just the only proper killer of the group. Also has combat abilities all over the place. Right. So Heredis, I don't see a replacement for him. Tiber is likely could be replaced by the female assassin. Stitch, well, I can replace Stitch. No, at least there is room for changes there. We need to part ways.
Well then, farewell. For now. You won't be gone long.
Yes, lad?
Button showing a pair of joined rings. High beer. Huh. Interlocking hand mirrors. Kill Stitch. Right. Okay, Makina.
Let's go.
Sonic Blade. Light weapon bonus. On hit confers Sonic Disruption, -1 armor. Okay. Allegiern. Other new abilities.
Ready to test this out.
Allegiern. Another wizard. Hardened Nano who fights with his demons. Tier 1, Tier 2. So Allegiern is sort of being left behind. I think I looked him through. He's actually very similar to Callisti. Has healing ability though. Massively more ciphers than anyone else. I don't. He has a weapon skill too. That's unexpected. Mages should not have this. So he has light weapon skills and he can cast some spells. He doesn't have an attack spell though. The cipher use is his best feature at the moment. Matkina, furtive jack who murders. Matkina is the kind of ally you want at your side rather than watching your back. Matkina is the deadliest assassin in the Protectorate and known as such. So it's a jack. Sonic Blade. Perception, quick finger, stealth, light weapons. Trained infiltrator. Deception and stealth tasks are easier. Warp dash. It's a spell attack. Enemies in immediate range. Teleport to a point and attack all enemies within short range of that point. Enemies that fail to resist take 1 transdimensional damage and gain hovel. It's 1 damage per effort applied. Defend against willpower. It's an attack that uses movement. Cast off vitality. Matkina never gains lasting damage when knocked unconscious. Amaurotic wound. When Matkina is hidden or the target is blinded, gain plus 20% on attacks and confer an extended blinded on the target. Actually for 3 rounds. More evasion and willpower bonus when wearing no armor or light armor. Choose one, yeah, you can get a +1 to your exploration, lore, or conversation skills. Once per day. Choose a damage type and then make a weapon attack. Deal weapon damage of chosen type along with bonus effect based on the type. So basically you can choose what type of damage you do. I don't know. She's very heavily speed focused. There's nothing wrong with her, but there's nothing wrong with Hyber either. This is she's much more stealth focused. Willpower, armor resistance. Yeah, I don't. I need to talk with these people. I think I've talked with Allegern already, so I'll keep
Those tattoos hurt? They look like they probably hurt.
Does your glow hurt you?
Is this one of your riddles? If so, your riddles hurt too.
Thanks for getting rid of Calestige. You have no idea what it's like traveling with her. Though I suppose you've had a taste even from that short trial.
Yeah, I need you to get the fuck out of the group. I don't see a reason to take Matkina or Allegern at the moment, but I need to at least talk to Matkina. This does not really work on Rin. I sort of want Rin because she's so fucking different from everyone else. What is she? But what about those thoughts? What if someone else comes after me or after you? I'm not a fighter, I can't help you. Well, it's dangerous whether you stay here alone or come with me. At least with me you can learn to take care of yourself. I guess so. Alright, I'll do it.
I'll remember that.
Beloved slave. So, beloved slave. 1 strength. 0 experience. Lost child who shapes gods. No real abilities. Ooh, she has healing. Plus 5 bonus points per level healed when any healing ability or item is used. Inability so she would basically do double heals, but that she could only use items, she doesn't have any spells. What the fuck is she? She's not really anything. Rin may be lost, but she's not helpless. She's just alone. Pipe child. Rin is just a child. Nothing special about her, unless you count her damage hit, her odd turn of phrase, and her tendency to talk to a rock that lives in her pocket. Odd turns of phrase would definitely imply that she's alien. Or from a wrong time period. Rin insists that the stones she carries with her are gods. She says they help her, though it's hard to know for sure. In every way that matters, this is a rock with a hole in it, yet Rin talks to it frequently. She has good resistance, but her armor is shit. She has no weapon skills. She's good at movement, some perception. I suppose she's good at speed tasks, and she heals, but she is terrible at everything else. Plus 30% on stealth tasks. So a thief without any combat capability. In combat situations, she is not good. She has intellect edge 5. Speed is clearly where she excels, so why the fuck does she has intellect edge? 3 ciphers, that's actually quite good for our team. Probably one of the better ones. So we could buy her the healing ciphers, give her healing items. She could use her turns to heal and fight. That does not mean that she would not be a burden. Her hit points are terrible. She has no discernible combat skills. Probably should take a ranged weapon because I'm not going anywhere near enemies with 13 hit points. It would have to be something other than He has inabilities on all weapon skills, basically melee and range. A light weapon of some sort should have the least amount of inabilities, but looking at the stats, this is a terrible choice, but I'm honestly interested in seeing where this goes.
Rin, if you want a real story, you can earn it by being my squire.
But I didn't ask for a story.
You say that now. Although, if you say it later as well, I'll have to tell myself stories. Again.
All right, out with it.
Who's the 4th one? We're looking at someone who can actually fight, because giving up 1 slot is bad enough. Giving up 2, that's not gonna work. I'm inclined to lean toward Tybeer because he has interesting set of abilities, I mean combat abilities, and he's much more sturdy than the spellcasters. And Rin is she cannot fight. She cannot get hit, rather, let's put it that way.
Deadly little thing, isn't it?
Right. If there's one big problem with this, is that Rin is shit, she's low level, and we've already done quite a lot of quests, so yeah. This is not a smart move. I'm gonna end up paying for this.
What's going on?
What's your story? Her brow furrows and she clutches her elbow with one hand. You know some of it, maybe as much as I do. What did you want to know? Where are you from? Her expression grows distant. It's a better place than this. It's safe and warm, and it's a long, long away from here. For a moment, it seems like she's lost in thought, then she starts talking again. There are a lot of trees there. It's full of growing things, and a little village with a tall wall to keep bad things away, and I have parents there. She shakes her head a bit and turns back to focus on you.
That's where I belong. That's my home. I have parents there. I'm not an orphan.
That sounds like a lovely town. What's it called? She smiles and opens her mouth to answer. A panicked expression flashes across her face for a moment. Her eyes dart back and forth before she puts one hand to her injured head.
It's Baron.
She looks up, her tiny face grave.
Yes, it's called Baron. My village, my home. That's where my parents are.
You're so far away. If you're from so far away, why do you speak the same language as everyone here? She tips her head to the side thoughtfully.
I don't know. I guess I could also wonder why you all speak my language.
How did you get to Sega's Cliffs? She shakes her head, tears springing up in her eyes.
I can't remember. I remember running and a fire, but it wasn't the right color for a fire. I don't know.
Quinn looks around, her eyes lost.
Then I just remember being here and nothing making sense anymore.
How long have you been away? She scratches her neck thoughtfully.
Only a few weeks, I think.
She touches the side of her head again, lightly with her fingertips.
It's hard to remember. When I got hurt, I don't remember the time around then very well.
Do you think your parents might be looking for you? She looks thunderstruck, as if the thought had never occurred to her before. When she finally speaks, her tone is flat, almost numb. And it's clear that she's talking to herself as much as talking to you.
They know I'm safe. They can't be here. They have to be safe at home.
Quinn brings her hands to her mouth slowly, her eyes terrified and oddly flat, almost glazed. She turns away from you, speaking to something in her hands, her voice too soft for you to hear. She continues like that for a long time, worried and muttering. You realize she has forgotten you are even there.
I'm sorry about last time. I know we didn't finish our conversation. I offer apologies for my rudeness.
She clasps her hands in front of her and bows slightly. Can we finish our previous talk? He nods and gives you a tired smile.
Yes, it's just been... I'm not used to talking to anyone except Al about these things. It's harder than I thought it would be, but yes, let's talk.
He watches you patiently. Are you holding up?
I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come along and saved me. I don't think I'd be alive anymore. I think about that a lot. I don't know how to thank you for it. Seems too big to just thank someone for.
Who is all? A flash of panic crosses her face.
What? No one?
She says too quickly. Then she sighs and pulls something from her pocket. It is a small, dark stone with a hole in it. It's outside your arm's reach, but she still holds it close to her chest protectively.
This is Al. He keeps me safe. He knows everything of hiding.
Werewolf? Okay, that doesn't particularly explain anything. Those thugs you were hiding from, they seemed to know you were in the building, but they couldn't find you. Why? She grins, and her sudden smile is like the sun coming out from behind a cloud.
We're good at hiding.
Can I ask a few questions about your friend? She brings the stone up to her ear and cocks her head a bit. Then she looks up at you and gives a slight anxious nod.
All right. He's fine with a few questions. A few.
I can't help but notice that he's, well, a rock. He puts all back in her pocket.
He's not a rock, he's a stone.
There's a difference between a rock and a stone. He gives an exasperated sigh.
If there wasn't a difference, why would we have two words for them?
What's the difference then? He takes a deep breath, looking thoughtful.
Stones are typically smoother, and wiser, and lazier, and more vain.
He looks distracted for a moment, then says,
I'm sorry, but it's true. Rocks are brash, and they're more jaggedy. They tend to be smaller, too. Yes, I know it's a stereotype. You're being rude. Stop interrupting.
He looks up at you.
I'm sorry, he's sensitive about it. Anyway, as the stone isn't Al. Ali is a god. He lives inside the stone.
So the stone is like his body, or is it like his house? She smiles.
It's a little like both. It's easier for him to leave than a body, but harder to leave than house. But either way, the stone isn't really him. It's like a cup, too.
He looks up at you hopefully.
Does that make any sense?
Let's agree that it does. It's a vessel for his spirit. In any kind of another game world, that would be highly suspicious, but in a world like this, might be true. Why not? Wouldn't be the craziest thing I've seen so far. Yeah, moving from body to body sounds a little familiar. She nods and grins.
I've been listening a little. I thought that might be easy for you to understand.
Has Al always been in a stone? He nods.
He's a very young god. Older gods have usually lived in many bodies.
How old is he? She grins proudly.
Only a couple of weeks old. He's so strong for a...
She breaks off and looks down at her hand.
You don't need to be embarrassed.
He looks up at you and grins again. Then she says in a stage whisper,
He's embarrassed.
So, what does it mean that he is a god? Rin grimaces.
That's a hard question. Where I come from, there are many gods. Gods of health, hearth, and home. Gods of road and roam. Where I come from, it's a proper poor family that has no gods of their own.
She looks down at the stone in her hand, speaking softly.
But here there are no gods. It's like finding a place where people don't know what meat is, or air. How do you explain something like that? And I haven't seen a single god except for Al himself. And he's mine. He simply is. He is my friend.
Rin trails off, looking down at the stone in her hand. Did you bring all with you from your home? She shakes her head, her eyes far away.
No,
She breaks off suddenly, hand tightening around her stone, then starts again.
Well, yes, I suppose I did bring him with me. I found him near a stream. I've been carrying him around in my pocket for years.
So, for years. Versus a couple of weeks. I suppose I think I probably should question these inconsistencies. Otherwise, we'll never get to the bottom of this. It might upset her, but at the same time, I think it's sooner or later we're gonna have to cross this particular bridge. Okay, where you come from, does everyone have gods that they just carry around with them?
She shakes her head. No, usually the gods stay in the family's house. They give advice, they help with things.
Do you come from a magical, peaceful land where gods are just lying around waiting for people to pick them up? Okay. So gods are just lying around on the ground there. Not necessarily, she didn't say that. Stay in the family's home. Help with things. Must be comforting having something from home with you. She nods, absently running her thumb over the smooth surface of the stone. What kind of things do gods help with? He looks thoughtful. Well, gods, you see, they're old, so they know a lot of things because they've been around for a long time, and they'll tell you what they know sometimes, give you advice. Sometimes they listen if you need to talk. Sometimes that's all you really need. You said he was a god of hiding. Is that more than advice? She nods, and without noticing, she lifts up the hand with the stone in it, so that she is holding it very close to her heart.
Some gods can help you with more than words. Al knows everything of hiding, of being small and silent. He helps me hide. He makes it so no one can find me. He keeps me safe.
Yeah, I would imagine that at least something is doing that, because I have very huge amount of trouble basically, I suppose, getting connect with Rin with the device that connects perfectly to every other group member. So there's certainly some kind of power that is dampening Rin's presence. I'm not sure if it's the stone, but something. It could be that thing in her head too. You said Al was a couple of weeks old, but that you've had him for years. Which is it? She opens her mouth and closes again. She's quiet for a moment and says,
Al doesn't want me to talk about this anymore.
Alright, I can respect that.
It just... I know I sound crazy. Everyone from the junkyard to that circus, to this place, nobody's kept to themselves how crazy they think I am. But I'm not. I just can't remember everything.
I think the bigger problem is not the lack of memories, that you have conflicting memories. So I wonder which is one of them true and one false, or are they both wrong? Because I have the feeling that Rin is basically hatching up some of the inconsistencies on her own. So that's why there are constant sort of jagged edges to her story that stand out. She puts a hand to her head wound and squeezes her eyes shut.
I don't want to ask this, but I don't want to not ask it either.
She opens her eyes and looks at you, innocent and pleading.
Do you think I'm wrong in the head?
That would not explain this, no. I honestly don't know. And all the answers are sort of bad. It doesn't matter what I believe, Rin. If you keep talking to rocks, trees, and bones, people are going to lock you up. But it does matter. It matters to her. So I don't know what to believe. Your stories don't match. I agree with that. But if you are not lying, then Yeah, I think this is the best option. I think you've gone through a really hard time. Sometimes our mind plays tricks on. I don't think so. I'll do this. I don't know what to believe in. Your stories don't match. If you're not lying, then I.
Of course I'm not lying. I just... So you do think something's wrong with me?
I don't want to go on the defensive here. No, that's not what I meant. I'm only trying to make sense of what happened to you. Well, I don't know. Maybe it'll help to remember more of your past, like what are you parents' name? How could there not be, Rin? You took a terrible crack on your head. No. I think we're just. I think that the it's the details that are important here. She has, I think, a fairly consistent overall picture, but when details of that story are examined, then there starts to be inconsistencies. I don't know. Maybe it'll help to remember more of your past, like what are your parents' names?
Well, my father's name is...
She trails off, her brow furrowing.
My mother is...
Her expression shifts from confusion to panic.
No.
She shakes her head vigorously.
No. I know their names. I do. They're...
But again, her mouth stammers silently. She pulls out the stone and holds it to her face. Her tears glisten off the stone's black surface.
Why can't I remember? Why? What did I do?
Her shoulders tremble, fighting the sobs that begin to rack her body.
What happened? What's wrong with me?
He continues like that for a long time, no longer aware that you are even there. Yeah, she has issues, and she's a kid
I must
to
offer
boot.
apologies again for my rudeness. What would you like to talk about?
Honestly, there's something wrong with how Ring talks, but here's the thing, I don't know if it's actually supposed to be obviously wrong, or is it just the writer being sort of writing in his own way. Rin doesn't talk like a child. That's the thing, but it's not uncommon to have children talk in a way that children wouldn't talk. So I can't say if this is intentional or is this just writers being writers. She's, I suppose, emotionally and in that sense she is like a child, but in how she talks and what vocabulary she uses, I don't think she's that much of a child, or at least she would be older. I think she was somewhere around 10 years old, maybe, in that range anyway. She doesn't, what she says doesn't fit that, or how she acts doesn't really fit that. But at the same time, I have no idea what's happened to her, or what that thing in her head is about. Are you holding her?
I don't know.
We've heard that before. I can't talk about things anymore. Okay. I'm intrigued enough. I'm keeping Rin. What do you know about the others? What do you think about Eridis? She smiles.
He makes me laugh, but I can't tell when he's being serious. Is he ever being serious?
I hope not, Eridis says, looking shocked. Rin giggles against the back of her hand. What about Tybeer? She frowns.
He acts nice, but I don't think he likes me. I wonder if he really likes anybody.
What a thing to say, lass, he says, genuinely shocked. How could anyone not like you?
That's the part of what I said that bothers you?
Well, you're a delight, lass, and that's all I'll say on the matter. Rin nods to herself a little and says no more. Yeah, that's all, thanks. This is gonna suck ass. Ooh, there's a... Right. This is not gonna work. I need to at least take my equipment back from the... Cali stage. Okay, Tiber, I need you to fuck off for a while.
Yes, lad?
I don't know how Rin would react.
This should be useful. My thing.
There is a big problem with this though. Rin absolutely cannot function with the crap I'm giving her. The weapon is too short range to be really useful. I actually probably should give it to someone else. I'll give it to Tiber. It's at least a range weapon. Spray flesh. There were a couple of healing ciphers. I never bought them. I certainly can afford to buy them now. Heals 8 points of health. That should be 13 with her skills. Hopefully I can put another point there. That's the only way I can think that Rin can actually be useful for this group. She's by far the best healer already. So running mobility in crisis and healing, yeah, at least she can do something, but she's dead weight for the most part. The ciphers can probably change that. Maybe I should give her this piece of the time never ending. Because you can use this on others. So she would basically be giving out buffs and heals for the others in the fight. That's not such a bad deal. Okay, where did the item go?
Stop it. You're staring at me.
I'm trying to figure you out. I've never met anyone like you.
Nor have I. Very well. You may continue staring.
Go away.
Well then, farewell. For now. You won't be gone long.
So you keep saying. Meet Tiber.
Deadly little thing, isn't it?
I think Rin should have attacking ciphers too, because in a tough spot we might be able to use a little bit of extra boost, but that's not her main purpose. But without a doubt, if we get, let's say, the Abacus fight we had earlier, there's no way I could have protected Rin in that fight. And the longer it would have dragged on, the deadlier the situation would become. So I think I'm gonna end up regretting this particular choice multiple times. Right. think we should end this. Bring Rin back to the Tolmagor Circus Minor for two reasons. Even though I have no interest in giving up Rin, but at the same time I need to solve the slave situation somehow, so they're not gonna continually come after her. So even if we happen to separate our paths, Rin isn't gonna be fucked.
All right.
I need to look at a longer range weapon for her too, at least medium range.
On it.
Lord Bontgen.
I'm ready. I'm going.
Rin doesn't have anything, not stats, not abilities, just she's by far. I think she's one of the characters who probably should just go to stealth at the start of every fight. She might get away with it. She has the 30% bonus to it.
Let's go, all. You and me.
Here comes the Boredom Slayer.
Rin, okay. Recognize Rin. Rin! The boy shouts, throwing out his arms as if to hug her. You're safe! Rin steps back, looking him up and down. Hello, rude boy. We met outside town. Yeah. We met outside town, Rin tells you, mouth tight. We started arguing. He helped me, but then he left. She glares at him like she's trying to knock him over. Right before that woman stole me. Otero's eyes widen. Slavers? Tell me they didn't. They did! I told you what would happen if you brought them to me, didn't I? But I didn't bring them. I told you I wouldn't do that. I was mad, but... He glares at her. I wouldn't. I didn't. Yeah, don't worry, Rin, you're with me now. Right, Rin says as Otero sags slightly. I stopped trusting him a while ago anyway. She smiles up at you. Thank you, by the way. Otero stares at her, chewing his lip, clearly trying to work up the courage to talk to her, to convince her of something. Finally, with a wry twist of his mouth, he turns back to you. Look, he says, running a hand over his stubbled scalp. You hide it well, but I can tell you you're new here. I ain't trying to offend you, but I don't like leaving folk new to Sagas on their own. If you have questions about this, yeah, we've already gone through this. Perception. His eyes steal to Rin again, almost too quick to notice. Okay, what exactly makes me so special? No, I have questions. This is not useful. I can't talk about anything. But I need a medium ranged weapon. Crossbow. It's shit, but it's cheap and it's medium range. We're basically never going to hit with this, I think. But it's something I can at least do if I have excess action points left, so...
Okay, I guess I can use this.
Jesus fuck, the weapon is bigger than she is. Can I use a shield with it?
Okay, I guess I can
No,
use
but
this.
I could use it, I think, with the lighter weapon.
Good balance.
I don't plan to using the dagger, but just in case. Light range weapon. Ooh, range medium. That's exactly what we need. Light weapon, we have better chance to
Okay,
hit.
I guess I can use this.
Also, I'm pretty sure I can use a shield with this. Yes. Yes. Long range crossbow. Okay. Okay. No, I'll keep the crossbow. I can hit someone else. Short range doesn't really make sense. I'm actually thinking of giving this up, getting the money. Right. You could also use a range weapon of some sort. It doesn't matter really what it is, it just matters that we have one. So yeah, take it. I can cast spells.
You were wearing just a smile? And she let you pass?
Of course. It paid my toll, as it were.
Okay,
Time, so
But
I hope this
where were you
doesn't lead
keeping
to a
your
fight.
money? In your mouth?
so to speak.
Would be very tough to keep Rin basically, if they want to kill her, she's pretty much dead. That reminds me though, how good are her defenses? I think she had decent resistance. Okay, evasion and willpower. Good evasion, weak willpower. Yeah, one of the better evasions in fact. That's not that bad.
Ah, there's my little lost bird. Glad you found her. Now just send her over here and we'll count this job done. I don't want to go.
Rin whispers. Yeah, we need to talk about this whole...
No, we don't. Just give me the girl and...
She puts her hand to her face.
Fine, fine. I didn't want to tell you this, but damn it.
She grits her teeth.
Here's my dirty little secret. And if you tell anyone, I'll burn your flesh and scatter your bones. I'm a cast-off like you. You want to know why I want the girl? It's because she helps control the tides in me. She keeps them from slipping out into the world. Without Rin, everyone around me gets hurt, or even killed. If I use an adult for this, they die. So here's the deal. Give me the kid. I'll teach you how to control your tides better. Don't and, well, let's not get into that don't, eh?
She holds out her hand to Rin. No deal. We'll have to settle this some other way.
No, the time for talk is over.
She stares at you and you feel a sudden swirling in your psyche, a cacophony of dueling emotions. She's doing something with the tides. filling you with sickness and despair, the overwhelming compulsion to lie down and sob. She stops, a grim smile on her face.
You want an example of what cast-offs can do. You want to know why I want the girl. She stops me from doing that. Now give her to me.
Did you just use the tides on me? Is that what you do to Rin?
Frequently, she smirks. You have a problem with it?
Damages our intellect pool. Not permanent though. Okay, a lot of options this time. Seems to me you could use your ties to exact some justice. How old does Rin have to be before your power kills her? She's pretty close already, isn't she? Tolmagor shrugs, but she avoids your eyes.
I don't know. What I do know is that if I don't use her, others will be hurt.
You said Rin keeps your power from hurting or killing other people. How do I know it won't kill her? He looks away from you, from Rin.
I don't know. I can't bear the thought that it might. But these others they're my friends. If I lose Rin, my powers might kill them.
You'd learn how to control your powers better. Don't need to use someone else as a sponge. She spits, not quite at your feet, but certainly near them.
Says the Kasa who can't control his tides.
That's very much true. Enslaving Rin is destroying her life and her potential anyway. One way or another, you're killing her. She's prepared an angry retort, but it dies on her lips.
I don't know. I'll let her go when... Damn it.
Why can't you use one of your followers?
She sneers. Did you miss the part where adults die if I search into them? Not an option. I don't want to leave a trail of the dead and dying in my wake. Apart from being, evil, it raises questions from authority figures.
Seems to me you could use your ties to exact some justice. I don't exactly endorse this line of thinking, but I want to know why she doesn't do that. In an effort to learn more about the tide use.
What do you think I am? A vigilante? An oath keeper? A levy? Keeping the law is someone else's job. My job is slaving. Keep that straight.
Okay, how can you justify keeping Green in your custody? Release your claim. Oh, this has to work. So we're not taking chances, but Tiber is probably better at this. Not all that much better though. Can I take the 100%? I'll take it. I don't want to risk failure on this. She grits her teeth.
Ah, fine. You've convinced me. You can keep her, but you treat her right, you hear? If I get even a hint that you've made Rin unhappy, I'll track you across the 9th world.
It concentrates a moment, and the miasma that filled your mind lifts.
You know what? I'll even live up to my part of the bargain. I'm going to teach you about your tides, because it will help you keep Rin safe. You ready for this?
Let's do it. She fights to keep the despairing sneer on her face.
You know I hate all of this cast-off skistia. Alright, so, the changing god, he made us. Maybe not on purpose, maybe we're just an accident, but he made us. He used the tides to transport his mind. You felt him, I'm sure. Surges of power, emotion, whatever. That's the tides, and they're pushing around inside you. You focus them into something and you can make a weapon out of them. Manifests differently for each of us. Most of us don't think about it, but I figure use every tool at your disposal. Close your eyes. Feel that coiling power in you? That's the tides. Now feel this. I'm going to push a little power at you. Try to fight it off.
With your eyes closed, you can see the energy emanating from her. A dark and angry spike of red-hued power that drifts toward you. Instinctively, you raise your hands to bat it away, and she snorts,
With your mind. Use your tides.
As the tidal dagger drifts closer, you feel something inside you uncoiling. A vast and relentless power whose depths you can barely comprehend. It's reminiscent of the energy you used to blast the sorrow fragments from your mind. But now you can control it, and you breathe out, pushing her probe away.
That's it. That's it. Practice that.
She pushes away.
We're done.
Skill level at tidal affinity has increased to 1. Trained, that means we can do the skitche, the digging bug quest too, because we can use the tides now. We can learn the language. Not sure what the consequence of forcing it through this way is, but it's my only choice of doing it without stealing the eggs, so I'm doing it. Now that I know you're a cast-off, let's talk about you a little more.
It's not a core part of my identity, you know. I don't walk around thinking, oh, I'm a cast-off. Let me think about my place in the world.
She jabs a finger into your chest.
I'm my own person. Got it? But fine, ask your questions.
Have you ever heard of Mazov?
No, like I said, I don't keep in contact with cast-offs. Whatever the rest of you do, it's your business.
Do you know anything about Metkina?
I've heard the name. I know she trades with Pat Crowd. I've never met her, don't know where she lives or who she knows. Never hope to either.
Do you know of any other cast-offs?
I knew Riestrat, Glaive, covered in living metal armor. He had some underworld connections. It didn't end well for him. Last I heard, he scrambled his brain trying to change his past with dodgy Numenera. For the rest of the cast-offs, no. I keep to myself, and I'll thank you to keep my existence a secret.
Okay. Riestrat, Glaive, covered in living metal armor. Scrambled his brain. Okay, if we encounter living metal armor, I'll try to remember that. What is it you hope to accomplish with your life? Or become a slaver when you're effectively immortal? She eyes you speculatively.
Why? Because it wasn't easy to fall into the life. Because it was a challenge to get good at it. Because I don't particularly care what others think about me.
She rakes her hair back.
This tattoo, it doesn't define me. I'm not the man who made me. I owe him nothing. I owe you nothing. I owe the world nothing. It's my life and these are my choices.
Yeah, that's not what I asked though, is it? What exactly do you want to accomplish in your life and why become a slaver? Yeah, I understand that you don't give a shit about what everyone else thinks, but why slaver? I mean, I can start doing knitting because I don't give a shit about what everyone else thinks, but that doesn't really answer the question why knitting instead of something else. Don't you think you could do some good? I don't give two shits about that. What about giving back to the society? Please. Yeah, I won't argue that choosing your own life is the best course, but why slavery? That's exactly what I wanted to ask.
Because I'm matching myself against the criminal class. Because I don't like people. Because it's not your damn business. My choices are my own and they're not subject to review.
Self-reflection is the key to a successful life. I don't actually agree with that. It's a it's a key to better self-understanding. That does not necessarily lead to a successful life. It might lead to depression too. It's not always a pretty picture when you self-reflect too much. It can also lead to inactivity, would lead to you failing in life. In life, in order to be successful, you gotta make moves, you gotta make choices, you gotta live your life, not just stare at your own belly button. Mhm. What gives you the right to judge others? She hasn't been particularly judgmental, in my opinion. She just doesn't want to deal with anyone else's shit.
Hmm.
I don't particularly care about the options. Also, I don't really see where the options are going. So it could be that they don't matter, but you never know. In a less conversation focused RPG, I would probably be more likely to just pick one, not really think about it too much.
Uh,
Your business is your own, yes, until it interferes with mine. Where do you draw the line? This is uh, this is not necessarily a bad thing to say, but I don't know where I'm going with this, because if that's the only thing I want to say, it's pretty meaningless.
she cocks an eyebrow. Wherever I please. Weren't you paying attention? It's my life and I make my own decisions. When they intersect and interfere with yours, then we figure it out. On a case-by-case basis. No better way to handle it, I've found.
She spits.
If you don't have any other epiphanies you want to share with me, I've got some important none of your business to attend to.
Do you know anything about the sorrow?
The what?
She looks genuinely puzzled for a moment.
Oh, you mean that monster that looks like the night mated with some year-old corpses? I don't. Nothing that would be helpful anyway. I felt it a while back though. Felt like it glanced my way. Felt like it told me, not yet.
She shakes herself free of the memory.
But no, can't help you with anything about it.
Anything else about the tides? What is the deal with the girl, Rin?
She caught my pain. When the tides well up in me and overflow, she took the excess and kept me from hurting others. Don't know how, but it was a service. Without her, these others around me, they take the brunt, and while they like the experience in small amounts, any large surge poisons them, lays them low. It's even killed a couple, so the girl's essential to the well-being of those around me.
Right. So, is that why your followers are a bit strange? She gives them a quick glance.
They are strange. Rin filtered, I guess, my tides. I turn my energy outward and it makes most people sick. But Rin changed that. Instead of making them sick, it gave them hallucinations, pleasant dreams, euphoria that improves their days. Right now, they're suffering because I've been bleeding up into them, slowly. Bad combination.
Right, title surges.
Why? It's different for each of us. I can't tell you how the world looks through your eyes, or what something tastes like on your tongue. You got to figure that out on your own. I can't tell you that you don't like meat, or that you think, I don't know, fungus is delicious. But you see the world your own way, it's what makes you... Why am I even telling you this? It's remedial experiential philosophy.
Experiential philosophy. Right. Guess we're out of questions. Very well. Ooh, someone wants to talk with us. Why?
Yes, lad?
Let's talk about you again. No. Why did you want to talk? Are you holding up? I'm fine, lad. I just hope you won't regret our friendship when the time comes to part ways. Okay? Anything new? Tell me, oh, so you're a captain. Retired. I've been on my own more or less for a handful of decades now. Still, having a captaincy under your belt opens doors, lifts dresses, and drops trousers, so I tend to wave it around whenever I can. Right. Tell me another story from your past. First battle. Mercenary work. Good old times. Oh, I've had plenty, he says, running his teeth over his lip. More good times than bad, even as a gallow glass. But of course, there is one that stands out. But he isn't smiling now, despite his words. My partner at the time, my old sergeant, and I heard of a scrap brewing on the border between two mercenary armies over territory. We got there and knew it was going to be a bloodbath the moment someone went for a weapon. They'd been rivals for too long, see? It's a sad thing to see professional killers turn violent. Now, I was thinking we should get back on the road and as far from the fight as possible, but my partner, he was a tinkerer. A soft gleam rises in his eyes. He had these two rings he was messing with at the time, and they could link minds. He wanted to plant one on each side, get them seeing things from the other's point of view. We already have that pair of ring too. Huh. I couldn't talk him out of it. He snuck around in the dark of night, cursing and thumping, set up the damn things in the rival camps, and ran back to our distant hill to watch. Hybe rubs his eyes, and all night long we heard strange things, sort of wet sounds, laughter, happy sighing. He runs his hands through his hair. Then dawn came, and there was a different kind of war going on in the mud below. Flashes a grin, the kind where everyone wins. Turns out that once they got a taste of each other's thoughts, they found out they hadn't wanted to fight each other after all. Not exactly, and that was Obi for you. He finishes with a touching smile. Touch of smile. Always bringing out the truth in people. Who's Obi? Huh? He says, eyebrows climbing. Oh, he let his name slip, did I? O'Bine was the old sergeant I mentioned. First, we were partners, then more than that by a long shot. He sinks his thumbs beneath his belt, but, well, you know things. They change. Grinning, Tiber shakes his head. I haven't thought about the man in years. You can't help noticing that his hands, hooked onto his belt, are trembling. Tell me about your first battle. I nearly missed it. As I said, my sergeant knocked me out, stripped me naked, and hit the road with his friends and all the best weapons and armor in a stolen wagon. He clacks his tongue fondly. I woke up with a throbbing head and blood in my eyes too. The new sergeant screaming that I'd best throw on a sack and grab a stick because the protectorate was coming. I can't recall much about the battle itself. Lots of screaming, and most of it mine. I remember hitting a number of heads with that stick, and I lost the sack at some point. No one seemed prepared to comment, what with all the dying. At any rate, the Protectorate kicked our teeth in and drove us back to a little herd town at the far eastern end of the Plowshares. He winces at the memory. Well, the herd folk there, they were doing all they could for us, feeding us, binding our wounds, because, well, we'd been defending their own town, hadn't we? He spreads his hands, trying to at any rate, but they didn't know that the Protectorate had also stolen all of their anine for provisions, the whole herd, and was headed south with them. Come winter, these folks were going to starve to death. He shifts uncomfortably. My commander wasn't going to tell him, but I couldn't stand it. We were meant to be the saving of these people, and here we were robbing them just as surely as the Protectorate had. So that night, the new sergeant and I borrowed 2 rasters and a sonic punch and flew south until we found the stolen anine. We scream-dived the herd until they bolted, then chased them all the way back north. He shakes his head. We nearly got knocked out of the sky a dozen times by their fire throwers, but we were sure that once we got the anine away, they wouldn't dare turn back for them. They knew we were being reinforced the next morning, you see. Ovi got demoted for that stunt, and we both got a week in the brig besides, but those herd folk were damned grateful. He winks, some of them several times. What about some of your other mercenary work? Too many stories in that sack to tell in a single sitting, but I'll stick to the one with the least amount of back alley murders. There's too lovely a day to grip for grim tales of bloodshed. He squints at the air. It was just after I'd left the military life. I was desperate to make a name for myself as a mercenary. Too desperate as it turned out. He clears his throat. I was drinking in my favorite bar and felt a soft touch on my shoulder. It was a lady. Navarrene nobility, she said, and in need of a bodyguard. Groaning, he covers his eyes. And that body. Those eyes. I accepted on the spot, of course. She tried telling me why she needed me, something about assassins at a ball, but I was too busy watching her hips shift beneath that dress. I followed her around that ball with barely a thought in my head. Then halfway through the party, she excuses herself and comes back in different clothes. He chuckles through there's no humor in it. She tells me that to anyone who asks, I'm her husband, Baron Chusk of Navarrene, and that we have to leave immediately. We worked our way toward the door, but were stopped by the host of the ball and a phalanx of city guards. They demanded to know who I was. Terrified, but right on cue, I say, I'm Baron Nikask of the Gavraline. This is my night. He shakes his head. 30 days in the blocks as an accessory. Turned out she'd stolen a fortune in living gems from the upstairs bedroom. She wasn't any kind of noble, just a common, beautiful thief. What about your background? Anything new? Again, yeah. Another time. No, he still has the conversation thing there. But why?
Yes, lad?
You're holding up. Okay, let's talk about the people we're traveling with. Heritage. Ring? Oh, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. What foolish notion made you think it was right to bring a little girl with us? People say I'm irresponsible, but this?
Hey,
Rin says, glaring up at him.
I may be little, but at least I'm not a criminal.
Was that an insult? I hear it all the time. The word has lost its sting somewhat. Okay, anything else about Rin? No. Yeah, he seems like he wants to talk to me, but I can't talk with him about anything meaningful.
Let's go.
So shrug.
Yes, lad?
Okay. Still, Rin is so far away from being even getting anything even remotely useful. So the rest of you guys need to patch up this weakness in the group. Passage in the shaky foundations. Yeah, we should be able to do this now. Stitch up. Settle the debt.
I don't know you.
Where does Stitch up? They're in the underbelly, right? I leave them for another time, but I'll at least hold my ass to underbelly.
Here I come!
I feel like I can take on the world.
Before we get into any serious trouble, I need to do some shopping. I need to have better gear for Rin. I also need to sell some of our equipment. We don't have that many cipher slots, and I think we're basically starting to be fairly full. Yeah, I have 2 slots free at the moment, and if I start buying ciphers, we have to get these. Like this. Deal 6 points of energy, 4 physical damage to all characters in range. This is shit. It's not absolute shit. I mean, for Rin, for example, it would be a great thing, but I just can't store these. That would actually be my first thing if I can do with Rin. I'd like to increase the amount of ciphers we can hold on to. That would be concentration, I think. Or cipher use? Definitely not concentration. I'm not sure if she's gonna get it because she's not a class at all. That's the thing. I have no fucking clue what she's gonna get. Is she gonna get something? I mean, she has a god of hiding. This is not a bad skill by any means. It just I have no idea what to expect with her. On the other hand, I knew what I was doing when I took her. So yeah, what she really I would like is would put the fucking edge I have in the intellect into speed. That would help quite a bit. Although it would mostly help with the exploration skill challenges. They seem to be speed focused. Might be able to buy a single cipher here already.
Alright, here I go.
One of the healing ones. I don't particularly care which one. Berserkers here. Heavy crossbow. Furtive Eidolon. Plus 50% on stealth tasks, plus 50% on perception tasks, and automatically attempts to hide as a free action at the end of each turn, active for 5 rounds. Yeah, that's quite good. Root Spike. 15 points physical damage and confers immobility and root spike. The target cannot move. So something like this combined with range weapon use could deal with at least weaken some kind of a enemy melee target, for example, or keep him out of the fight for a few turns while other fighting continues. But problem being, we don't really have a lot of room for this excess crap. I'll fight.
These ciphers are killing me.
Yeah. Tell it to someone who cares.
Alright, here I go.
And the headless man. How can there be a headless man and I can't get anything interesting out of it? Oh, they cleaned this place. No. What the hell? And there's a foreman. And there might have been someone else. Don't know what to do with the Baron now.
I'm ready.
Right. So, to kick. I need to use the tides to learn his language. Then we can probably come to some kind of a deal or agreement here.
Let's go.